and welcome to Gardening with the Gardeners, a podcast where we discuss our favorite plants, gardens, landscape design, and all things horticulture, with just a touch of our crazy homestead lifestyle thrown in.
I'm one of your hosts, Matthew Boone Gardner, a horticulturalist, landscape designer, and fourth-generation owner, operator of Boone Gardner Landscape.
And I'm Hope Gardner, Matt's wife, a horticulturalist with our local county extension office, as well as a landscape designer with a family business. And together, we make up Gardening with the Gardeners.
Here we are.
It's spring.
Episode 18.
Yes.
And we decided to do something a little different since it is so spring and absolute chaos.
It is. Oh my good gracious.
I think this week in particular, we really felt the chaos. In fact, I know we did. But so instead of doing an actual one big topic, we're going to just do a spring update and do tips and all kinds of fun stuff.
Well, there's so much going on right now in the garden because it is spring. And we should be at the point where we've planted everything, and then you take a deep breath and you just start, a little bit of maintenance. And with the rain we had, we are still planting.
Oh, yeah. We were way behind, and you and I must have planted
a gajillion.
How many perennials this past weekend? A lot.
Yes.
So we're both very sore and can barely walk and aching.
I can hardly even move my hands today. They're so sore.
Working until dark every night, past dark.
Yes. I think Saturday night I was still planting dahlias in the dark. I didn't even have a flashlight, but I was just I had already laid all the pots out where they go in the bed. So I was just doing it to get it in.
Planting by memory.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes you have to do it.
So farm updates.
Oh, there's a lot of
There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So one funny story was, I sit in my office and it looks out into our Japanese garden. And I came down one morning to work on my designs, and I kept smelling something dead.
Not a pleasant start to your day.
No. And I was like, goodness. And so I was like, whatever. Make a long story short, our dog Amelia comes down. She's smelling around. I'm like, ugh, it's just awful. And it keeps building for several days. And I just can't get rid of it. Burning candles and all kinds of stuff to try to deal with it. I look all over the place. I'm expecting a dead mouse or something somewhere. But then I just finally give up. I can't find it. So I was out working, speaking of the Japanese garden, because we planted several cool plants. We're coming back to that in a second. And we have a walkout area. And so I went back into that area and I smelled something dead.
Right by your window.
Right underneath the window, by this box that we have, there was a dead possum tucked in there.
Oh. Absolutely
disgusting. But I found it.
Yes. And those are the kinds of things that you have to deal with on the farm.
Yes. So we got that. That was great.
And speaking of that, in the dahlia bed, as we are planting and watering, our wonderful, very, very loved livestock guard dog had left a present. And he had actually buried this dead possum in the bed, which is exactly the reason why I have moved all my vegetables out of the raised beds and down to a fenced-in area and only grow dahlias in the raised beds now, because I don't exactly like the thought of growing my vegetables with surprise presents.
We may secure that whole area, although I guess that's...
Yeah. So those are some of the fun things that have gone on the farm, or not so fun. What else have we got?
Snapping turtle is still in the daggone koi pond.
Oh,
Goldfish and koi, and we're trying to figure out how to catch him. So we have to do probably a old-fashioned milk jug and
chicken
dough ball
livers.
Or chicken livers or whatever.
Who knows? But he's a big one.
I know. And then your baby chicks are doing well.
They are.
And
we actually have another baby that was born much later, but to the same mom. She's still sitting on the eggs.
It is that barred rock hen?
It is the barred rock hen. She is on the floor in the corner of the chicken coop. And it's funny to go out at night to put the chickens away, or to check on the chickens before I put the ducks away. And so the first 4 babies, they're a pretty decent size. but they are still trying very hard to tuck in underneath her as big as they are.
Oh yeah.
And then you have this teeny tiny little baby, and it's probably what, 4 days,
It is
4 or
little.
5 days.
It's little bitty, but it's running around everywhere.
Oh, it's yes.
It was in the chicken. It was in the rabbit hutch the other day.
Yeah. It is the funniest thing because it is not afraid of anything. It goes all over the farm. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm too far. And it'll start like screaming. You can hear it everywhere. And then by the time you go see if it's okay,
Scream for mama.
it's run back into the chicken house. So I think this one is going to be okay. It is, like I said, it's very tiny, but they grow fast, and she's very, very inquisitive.
And then you, I dare. Do we mention it? I guess I have to now. But we do have a baby peacock.
Oh, I know. Don't tell anybody or something will happen to it.
I know, because they're so fragile. But just like the baby chicks too, but they're more secure, and the peacocks run all over creation around the farm. But and she was running it all over.
I have seen the baby peacock in the dahlia garden, the vegetable garden,
The goat pasture
the duck
area.
the orchard kind of
Yeah.
quote unquote orchard, my 3 fruit trees orchard.
Oh, you have more than that. I guess we lost some though.
I lost the peaches last year. So I mean, this mama is taking this one single little baby peacock all over the farm.
Everywhere.
Yes.
So
So hopefully
hopefully-
she'll be smart enough to defend it.
Fingers crossed.
Sometimes peacocks are not known to be the smartest mama. They kind of lose them in tall grass.
I guess while we're talking about fowl and chickens, one thing I always, we see all these different, reels and TikToks or even just
don't
videos.
believe Pinterest.
Yeah, they're Pinterest. Yeah, they're notorious for it. They're like,
Oh my gosh.
oh, the chickens in the garden are so delightful.
Oh,
and
they're
it's-
lovely. They're such the garden's best friend.
And yes, they will eat bugs, but they'll also scratch everything to high heaven and just tear up stuff. And we have discovered that we really don't enjoy them in our garden. We'll let them out maybe late in the
They
fall.
are little dinosaurs.
Oh, they are little Tyrannosaurus Rex or whatever.
Pterodactyl, whatever you want to call them. But they are little dinosaurs, and they go through and they will scratch and dig. And you think that it's cute, but until you have like small plants or freshly mulched area.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. And this is what I had a good client we just did a really cool job for over in Indiana, and all new beds, really going to be a neat perennial landscape. And he's got a real contemporary modern house with all these hardscape and all these cool beds. And so we had it all planted up. They got it all mulched. They're heading out of town. Luckily, he's got a great person watching and going to water everything. So we thought he had everything covered. And he's like, okay, what do I do about these chickens? My chickens are going and scratching up the mulch, and they're tearing out all the mulch from the beds and throwing it onto the hardscape.
Lock them up.
I was like, you can't have free range chickens with a new landscape. There's no easy answer. You can fence off the area, but yeah, in that situation, you definitely want to just go ahead and lock them up because it does not work. They will tear up everything.
Yes. And we do have a couple chickens that will fly. They fly the coop. They will fly out, and every day I'm finding them further and further out away from the chicken yard.
Well, because one of the many
They've-
tasks that we keep procrastinating on is we normally have that covered, and we took
Yes.
we had to recover.
Well, when the tree fell, it took the cover off of it.
Yep.
And so we've got some netting to put over to keep them in. But I came home the other day, and they were in the front yard.
I know.
So that was kind of funny. But yeah, so the chickens, they're doing well. Let's see, what else is going on around the farm?
We had we always have this every year, but it's fun. The tadpoles that
Oh,
they're
yes.
turning into frogs, and I get cute little frogs on your.
So the English garden, we have a large round pond, and it's pretty deep. We had the koi in it. We've got goldfish in it, and it's got a nice fountain that recirculates the water. And so we always get huge frogs that are attracted to the water. And then by my kitchen door, I have a little bitty pond that I keep some fancy little goldfish in, just so I can hear the sound of water when I'm in the kitchen.
It's more protected. It doesn't have
Very
a doesn't
much
have a
more.
resident snapping turtle in it right now.
No, it does not. Thank goodness. It's got the little white picket fence kind of around that garden, so it is much more protected. And so I go out there, and I think I went to feed the big goldfish pond. If I were to say there were 100 tadpoles out that day,
Oh my gosh!
that would probably be.
No, there were more. Yeah.
There had to be more. And so
They were the small ones.
I've got the great big giant ones
Yeah,
in
and
the
your
little
small,
pond.
the little pond, they're huge. They were literally 3-inch tadpoles. I mean, right? Am I
They're
exaggerating?
huge. Probably not. Um,
Big fat dudes,
yeah.
and then now they're putting they're getting the full biology lesson, growing the legs gradually, and then
Well, it was funny because I went outside yesterday morning and I just threw some water lettuce in there because this is the time of year to do that. And I happened to look. I was like, "There's a spot on that water lettuce," and I looked. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is a frog that still has his tadpole tail." But he's already out of the water and he is sunning himself on the water lilies.
Hope knows that. Well, I think you always enjoyed them too way before I was in the picture, but I'm kind of obsessed with toads and frogs.
You are obsessed with them. I liked them. I thought they were really cute, but you take it to a whole nother level.
Well, it was always a special thing between my dad and I, and then they're great for the garden. They eat lots of bugs,
They
lots
do.
of mosquitoes. Yeah.
Well, and I have to say, I'm going to add this point. You liked frogs so much that when we got married, your groom's cake was a frog that had
right.
a little crown on it like a prince.
It was very cute.
It was.
So yeah,
I kissed a lot of toads to find my frog.
your
my
prince, not your.
My prince. Yeah. So,
So we planted up your pots finally. I mean, we're way late on stuff, but
Yes.
we're finally getting,
not all my pots, my annual pots are planted up, but we did make a really good dent in them.
big dent.
Yes. So we've got some neat stuff, some neat, annuals and things that we mix up and put in various pots around here. The nice thing is I've got areas for shade annuals and a lot of sun annuals, and we do tropicals on the back deck. So yeah, that's fun.
Well, and our problem is we have a little bit of ADD when it comes to gardening and
No.
farm projects, and so we literally have 5, 10, maybe more projects going on simultaneously, which may.
And then I probably have another 10 in the back of my head.
Oh, yeah.
Wanting to get started.
But like this weekend, we kind of were like, we're kind of like hummingbirds or darting around the yard because you put in a new perennial border on the garage.
I did a new herbaceous perennial border.
And we put in probably 25, 30, no, 40 or so
Oh,
plants
at
there.
least. Yeah.
And then we're expanding your stumpery, which is becoming, the stumpery is kind of the anchor of it, but it's really becoming a whole shade border in the front yard underneath our massive oak trees that we have. And
the stumpery started because we took out I think a big tree fell and it took out a lot of area and it was still very shaded. So that front corner of the yard became what we called a stumpery because we left a lot of very large sections of the trunk in various places, and I planted a lot of shade around it and have some pathways through it to walk around. And so as things happen around here, it kind of started to expand a little bit. So it kind of went a little bit to the left down the side of one property line, and then across the front where the road is, it keeps kind of growing a little bit or a lot at a time.
And you wrangled me out there to start cutting more and
Yes, so we're cutting some of the brush back to the fence line, and then I'm adding a lot more perennials and some other shrubs and things like that. I've got a really pretty hydrangea up there that's kind of new to the market called Broadway. It's going to bloom this year and it's really pretty. We've got some pyrus in that area.
Pyrus japonica.
Mm-hmm. And a mahonium that we'll talk about more in the Japanese garden also. So we're adding a lot of things that are shade tolerant, deer resistant, fun stuff like that. So it's just going to keep growing and growing. And I do want to quickly say, and I think we touched on this before, but a lot of people will say something about, oh, I can't grow a thing that's got too much shade. That is so wrong because there's a ton of amazing perennials and shrubs that do great. And I will say from personal experience, when it gets in the hot part of the summer, I would much rather garden in a shade garden where it's cool than any sun garden imaginable.
And I think we've said this before, but you and I have become kind of obsessed with shade gardens. And they're just great spaces.
Yes.
Because our summers get so hot between the sun and the humidity and all that, and it's nice to escape and see wonderful shade plants.
Yeah. So, yeah, we did that too. We added a little bit more.
And then we went down to the Japanese garden, and then we added with the cool plants you want to talk about.
Yes, I do want to talk about it because it is a really neat new plant.
Mahonia Marvel
Mm-hmm.
And so it's in the Oregon grape holly family, and it's actually a Southern Living plant collection. We're not endorsed by Southern Living Plants. We're not Grumpy Gardener.
They can always call us if they want.
But this is worth noting. It's a really cool landscape plant.
So if you're familiar with Oregon grape holly, it has that holly leaf to it. And it's kind of a silvery blue leaf kind of color.
This is a real dark. It just depends on the variety, but this one's real dark.
But those leaves are probably one of the best screening tactics because those thorns on the leaves, they're vicious.
Yes.
But I love that plant. And so
it's got a really great coarse architectural form to it.
Yes.
And the texture is really nice. And
so this Marvel is a little bit softer.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit. It's still prickly.
It's still prickly. I can tell you from planting it, it's still prickly. But it is a little bit softer look as well.
But we used a bunch at another client's house, and it is a showstopper. And so I was like, I got to get some for our place. And so we put in several in that Japanese garden and then up in the other shade garden we were talking about. And it's a neat plant. So it's going to get these fragrant yellow blooms on it.
In the winter.
Yes. And then these are the very important point for a lot of our residential landscapes. These are deer-resistant plants.
Yes.
The deer do not touch them because they are kind of coarse and have that texture.
It's a real thick leaf, besides being that little,
And mahonias they're related to barberries, and so
I believe it.
Yeah, and they don't. They're not a true holly at all, but they look very much. But the average person says, "Oh, it's a holly," but it's not. And then this Mahonia Marvel, it'll get about 6 foot tall and about 4 foot wide, and it likes shade to part shade. And you want to kind of a nice, moist, but not wet by any means. But they're very tolerant. They actually are drought tolerant once they're established too. So it's a great plant. I think you're very excited about it.
I'm very excited. I love the bright, because the dark foliage, and then it has that bright yellow bloom on the top, which is very refreshing in that, late winter, early spring.
So while it's related to the Mahonia Oregon grape, it's actually Mahonia X Media Marvel. And so it's a cultivar hybrid, but it's a really, really cool plant.
I can't wait. I'm very excited about that being in our garden.
So another one of our multiple topics that we wanted to cover today, you wanted to specifically to circle back to garlic.
So yes, on episode number 4, we talked about garlic
in depth. I'm going to let you run here for a second, but it's kind of funny because one of my best friends and one of your good friends and his wife, they grew garlic for the first time, and they did pretty good. But he had like about, I don't know, I think he said maybe a 20% return or whatever. But I'm wondering if some of the issues they had were what you're going to go into.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So with our hard neck, we have already gone to scapes, which is that stem that comes up, and a lot of times it'll circle back around, and then
like
you'll
a
see
little curlicue, like a pig's tail.
Very much so. And it'll have that bulb on the flower bud at the top of it.
You want to talk about the fun part first? You go to the top.
Well, I'm going to talk about cutting the scape off because we've already harvested all of our scapes. And I was able to take them in and made a really, really good pesto.
It was delicious.
Garlic pesto with pasta. So if you haven't already, anybody that has any hard neck garlic, you definitely want to cut those scapes off because you don't want the energy going to that flower bulb. You want to cut that off so that the energy goes back to producing your bulbs.
And what we're talking about is a really nice green, healthy stem.
Yes.
It's not when the old foliage yellows or something like that. This is like it's a shoot that comes up. It's really,
and it's very obvious.
It's real obvious. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's actually really pretty.
So that's going to be on your hard neck, on the hard neck garlic. So we've talked about in episode number 4. That's kind of a secondary harvest that you get from your garlic. Now, because in April, I think it was, we hit some really hot temperatures.
It got real hot real fast. It scared us because it was droughty.
Well, because you plant your garlic in the fall, it's a cool season crop. It's not ready for 90-degree weather in April. And then we dropped back down into, I think some of our nighttime temperatures were even in the 30s.
Oh, yeah.
So that fluctuation in temperatures is not something that garlic is accustomed to. And a lot of times what happens is then instead of being a normal harvest, you'll see where it kind of does like a witch's broom, which is like an odd cluster of growth. And it doesn't mean that the garlic is not harvestable, But what happens is your garlic doesn't store well. So you really need to go ahead and harvest, and you go ahead and harvest early, and then use it as a fresh garlic instead of trying to overwinter and save those cloves for next year.
Yeah, because ideally, like you haven't harvested yet. Ideally, it would be a little later, right?
There were two that I saw symptoms of this extra growth. And so I've pulled them, and we're going to go ahead and use those
Okay.
probably in the next week or two. But the rest of it still looks pretty good.
Okay.
So I've been happy with that. Usually, and of course, we're in June already, close to being the middle of June,
It's unbelievable.
surprisingly.
Unbelievable.
Harvesting garlic usually occurs in July, and that's why our garlic got really confused because in July is when you have those really warmer temperatures.
That's what I was. Yeah.
And as a cool season crop, it's going to they don't want to be 90 degrees in April. 90 degrees in July when you're ready to harvest is one thing. But because we had those really heavy temperature fluctuations, and then we had all that water, kind of like that monsoon season that we had for 2 weeks,
Literally.
that can also wreak havoc on your garlic because garlic, it's, those cloves or bulbs are in the ground. All that moisture just rots your garlic. So just be really careful, check on it. If you see anything funny going on, look into it. It's not unusual with the temperatures and the amount of rain that we've had, but you may have to pull it early. So I did want to touch on that today.
So your pesto recipe was the scapes,
Mm-hmm.
and you actually used walnuts instead of pine nuts, right?
I did this time, yes, because I had
With the Parmesan cheese?
with the Parmesan cheese
And olive oil?
and olive oil,
And it was
and it was fantastic.
no basil, just the scapes.
No, I didn't have
Because
any
it's
basil.
it's a garlic pesto.
Yep, it's a garlic pesto. I didn't have basil because it's not the season for basil yet. It's too early, which is nice because you get fresh basil before you get your basil pesto.
Mm-hmm. Which our family, it's like one of our comfort family food dishes is pesto pasta. I don't know how.
You introduced me
I
to
guess
that.
so, because Mom always cooked it, and I love it. Chicken pesto pasta, and then you made the chicken pesto pasta with the garlic, so it didn't have the basil, but it was just the garlic
Yes.
pasta. And it was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was delicious.
Yeah,
So,
and it freezes well too.
yes, it does, and it's fun to have in the wintertime. That fresh taste.
Yes, it is.
So you're talking about garlic. So we might as well say you could also another good tip to think about right now in the garden is like your spring bulbs that flowered out.
Yes.
If that foliage is yellowing or dying back, you can go ahead and cut those back. If it's
Mm-hmm.
still green, let it ride. But
Well, you want to leave as much foliage as long as possible because all of that is
nutrients.
storing energy for next year's
Goes back to
flower
the-
production.
yeah, it goes back to the bulb.
Yes.
But like all your big mass plantings of daffodils, I went ahead and cut those back. Or
You just mowed those
or
back.
mow. A little secret, you can just mow them because that one area you got them in the lawn, kind of on the outskirts of the lawn, and we just mow over top of them. They come back strong. So yeah.
They do. Yep. So any of your other bulbs that are spring bloomers, tulips, you might be able to get 2 or 3 seasons, but usually production starts to drop.
Yeah, usually people plant those every year.
Yeah, so I kind of look at those as an annual. But any of the other, early spring bulbs, when that foliage starts to,
Like your crocus are totally gone. Obviously.
You can't even see 'em.
No,
Yeah,
I
they're
mowed,
gone.
those are definitely in the lawn. I mowed over those.
Yeah.
And then obviously deadheading.
So as things start blooming, which I've even, believe it or not, have started deadheading some of the dahlias because they bloomed early. I had them growing in the greenhouse. But if you can deadhead a lot of those flowers, then you're going to get a better production.
Mm-hmm.
So don't forget, just maybe after work or early in the morning when it's cool, grab your cup of coffee, take a set of pruners out with you, and then start deadheading. I saw something very interesting. And one of the dahlia producers I saw online where they got those, those little trays that you make popsicles with.
Mm-hmm.
So they put that in a solid bucket, and then they poured their bleach water in the popsicle sections.
Okay.
And then you can put your pruners in that. So she had like 6. I think the little tray that made popsicles was like 6 individual little sections. She would put her pruners, and she had like 3 different sets of pruners. So you would set them in the water, sterilize them. When you take one out, cut it. The other two are sterilizing. Then you stick that one in to sterilize and grab another one out. I thought that was an ingenious.
I'm just going to get you. It is ingenious. I'm just going to get you one of those barbershop things where you stick.
Yes, that would be fantastic.
And you stick multiple pruners in there, like they put the combs and the scissors in.
But that way, I know that they're always sanitized because it is important, believe it or not. And I know that,
it's really important, especially with your dahlias, because you were having
Yes.
you're worried about that disease.
I don't want to get any of the leaf gall or anything like that. And that's, very commonly transferred by like pruning shears. When you cut one, the disease gets on it. And then you go cut the other one that was maybe not diseased, but then when you prune it, you introduce the disease. So that is why it's so important to keep your pruning shears clean. And if you're a dahlia producer, you clean it after every plant that you work on, which sounds neurotic, but it's the best way to keep your crop disease free.
How does it always come back to dahlias with you?
Life revolves around the
talking
dahlia.
about deadheading like perennials and things, and here you.
You can clean your tools when you're pruning your perennials as well.
Oh, of course. It's great. It's a good practice, especially as you're trimming. Now, not a lot of times people are pruning their shrubs now. We just did a bunch of boxwoods and things like that. You definitely want to try to sterilize after.
Well, because we've got blight in boxwoods that, you do want to prune or clean but after you're pruning.
Yeah, your shears and stuff.
And you can just get, even with your like pruning shears, get one of those little plastic bottles that has the spray handles like you would use like on a Windex bottle or whatever.
Just
put
spray 'em
your
on.
alcohol or your bleach solution in that and just spray them down.
Mm-hmm. Works really well. It's a good, very best practice.
Yes, it is. Let's keep everything safe. So,
I guess something else to watch out for right now. We've seen on our Blue Atlas cedar just a couple. There's one up tip top. I got to get Crane because he's tall enough to grab it. The bagworms.
the advantage of having a
Tall
very,
son.
very tall child.
Yeah, but keep an eye out for bagworms on your evergreens right now. This is when they're active, and if you can, just manually remove those. It's the best practice. People try to spray them, and sometimes you used to be able to, but it's hard to time. It's hard to get inside that bag.
You're not going to get inside
No.
that bag. When they produce those bags, they are sealed tight. And then one thing to remember is when you do remove those casings, put them in like a plastic
Kroger bag, old Walmart
tie
bag.
it up,
Yep.
put it in the trash, and let the trash man take it to the dump.
Yep.
You do not want it on your property. Don't throw them in the woods. Don't,
Exactly.
just remove them altogether. So,
And watering.
well,
Even though we're supposed to, like today, we were supposed to have a
we're
total.
under a flash flood watch, and I think we've gotten 3 sprinkles.
Yeah, barely. Now maybe we're getting more tonight, hopefully. But we need the rain.
We do.
And so
I'm amazed at how dry it is after what
all
I've been
that-
calling the monsoon.
Exactly. But consistency in watering, and that is one of the hardest things to practice. I mean, we have a hard time being out there all the time,
Yes.
trying to keep things evenly wet and just nice and,
Well, and I think we talked about, if you have an irrigation system, to maybe put a cup on the mulch, or on the landscape area to see how much water is actually being.
and how soon you collect that 1 inch, that critical, yeah. And be sure and install a rain gauge on your irrigation system. Don't let it run while it is running. I can't believe how many irrigation systems I see running when we had 7 inches of rain.
Yes.
Just wasted.
Well, and if you don't have an irrigation system and you're just watering with the water hose, remember that it is low and slow.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to go out there full blast for 5 minutes because it just runs off. You really want to make it a very, a small amount of water for a long period of time so that the soil can absorb that water.
I guess we will wrap it at that. You're probably going to drag me out and put me to work.
More, yes. I got a lot more stuff to plant.
We're trying to get ready for various things. So
Yeah, we got an event coming up this weekend that we're trying to get,
things looking good for the family and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all these tasks that we have to do in the spring that just have to get done.
We're getting a lot of positive feedback from you guys. It's been fun. And it kind of spurred whether they're direct questions or just kind of topics and things. But we really appreciate everybody reaching out and saying how much they're enjoying the podcast. It's been really fun. So.
Yes, it is. And keep any of those questions coming because we love to get them.
And if you know how to leave a review or a rating, please do so, because that helps drive the algorithm, obviously. Gets the
And
word
if you
out.
don't, email Matt and he can tell you how. So, well, thank you all very much for listening.
And we'll see you next time.
Great. See you next time. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Gardening with the Gardeners. Please subscribe or follow to get new episode updates, and please help us get the word out about our new podcast by dropping a rating or review. If you have any questions on landscape, gardening, or horticulture, please send them to gwtg@boonegardener.com. That's Gardening with the Gardeners, and don't forget, Gardener has an I, Gardiner. Thank you for listening to Gardening with the Gardeners. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Take care.